has been committing crimes
to accept a $400 million jumbo
Qataris
jet.
say they have just the thing.
Determined that the gift was legally permissible.
Of Qatar, earning about $115,000.
Government to government.
He's not going to get bought by a
Saudi Arabia giving $25 million, Qatar, all of these countries. Trump 2028.
This is coming straight out of the White House. Trump just got hit with 7 new articles of impeachment. This is no exaggeration. There's 7. And this isn't one of those symbolic stunts where nothing really happens. It was filed as a privileged resolution, which means Congress legally has to act on it within 2 days. They can't just ignore it. They can either vote on it or go on record shutting it down. And whether you support Trump or not, this is huge. It's not every day a sitting president is facing this kind of formal accusation again. So let's walk through what's actually going on here, why it matters, and what it could lead to. Now, being in Canada, I get it. We're not the US. Unlike them, we don't influence their elections. But what happens in the States, whether it be politics or financial news, it has a way of spilling into our lives. So here's the gist. Republican Sri Thanadar introduced these articles of impeachment. The allegations include obstruction of justice, bribery, corruption, and abuse of power.
President Donald J. Trump has been committing crimes since day one. Bribery, corruption, taking power from Congress, creating an unlawful office in DOJ, violating First Amendment rights, ignoring due process, and finally refusing to abide by a unanimous Supreme Court ruling.
Some of the same concerns that were raised in the first 2 impeachment efforts, and some that are new. The context now, though, includes recent stories like Trump allegedly accepting a $400 million private jet from Qatar.
President Trump is also defending his plan to accept a $400 million jumbo jet from Qatar's royal family.
It was not gifted to the president himself. That would be a bribe. He has made it very clear he is not accepting a bribe.
It's so amazing to see them try and turn this into a scandal.
That claim alone, if proven true, raises serious ethical and legal questions. Now, there's been a lot of debate about whether this move is performative or not. Like, this is really going to lead anywhere? Is this just political theater?
To travel in style, and the Qataris say they have just the thing, this tricked out 747.
I mean, this jet looks so freaking sweet.
But the other side of that is, when someone in a position of power, accused of doing something that violates the Constitution, or in this case, just basic democratic norms, don't you have to at least go on the record?
I could say no, or I could say thank you very much.
Hey, you say thank you. Someone gets you a free jet.
I think that's kind of the point here. The House isn't expected to remove Trump from office. That's almost impossible without a conviction in the Senate. And the Senate math just isn't there. But what this does do is put every elected official on the record. Where do you stand? Do you believe this behavior crosses the line or not? And for a lot of people watching all of this unfold on both sides, it's a test, not just for the legal system, but for basic accountability.
He's having trouble with Boeing making a new Air Force One, and Air Force One is getting very old.
The current Air Force One is now 40 years in service.
Meanwhile, with all of this happening, Trump's been posting photos and videos of himself with royal families from Qatar, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia, partying in gold-plated palaces. It's not illegal to be seen with foreign leaders, obviously. But when you're running a campaign built on America first or draining the swamp, and then you're out partying with oil billionaires and accepting gifts,
Pam Bondi actually gave a legal memo to the White House legal team, and they determined that the gift was legally permissible.
Bondi previously worked as a foreign lobbyist for the nation of Qatar, earning about $115,000 a month.
it sends a bit of a weird message. Especially when so many Americans right now are struggling with these tariffs, with inflation, housing costs, the healthcare chaos, basic day-to-day stuff. It kind of reminds you of that old quote, as Rome was burning, Nero played the fiddle. It's kind of that vibe. a disconnect between the political elites and everyday people.
I don't think it's a personal gift. I think it's government to government.
He's not going to get bought by a jet that, by the way, is just for is going to go into the museum after he rides around on it for a couple of years.
And the contradictions don't stop there. In past debates, Trump criticized other politicians for taking money from countries that violate human rights. He even specifically called out Saudi Arabia and Qatar for mistreating women and the LGBTQ people.
You want to talk about that?
But there is no
evidence, but
there
is a lot of evidence about the very good work
and it's a criminal enterprise, and so many people know it. It's a criminal enterprise. Saudi Arabia giving $25 million, Qatar, all of these countries. You talk about women and women's rights. So these are people that push gays off buildings. These are people that kill women and treat women horribly, and yet you take their money. So I'd like to ask you right now, why don't you give back the money that you've taken from certain countries that treat certain groups of people so horribly? Why don't you give back the money? I think it would be a great gesture.
Now, the same governments are allegedly funding properties and gifting private jets. That raises fair questions about consistency. But again, this isn't about pointing fingers in one direction. There are Democrats and Republicans who have been involved in questionable foreign affair dealings. That's not news. The difference here is that Trump isn't just any former politician. He is currently the president of the United States. That makes any allegations about gifts, foreign influence, or abuse of power a much bigger deal. And here's something else that's been flying under the radar. According to reports, Trump's former Attorney General, Pam Bondi, sold up to $5 million worth of shares in Trump's media company just before the stock tanked, right after Trump announced new tariffs. That's a pretty lucky move. Now, it's not illegal to make a good investment, but Bondi has also been registered as a foreign agent for Qatar, allegedly earning over $100,000 per month from them. And she's not alone. Other Trump allies like Susie Wiles and Kash Patel have also reportedly been on Qatar's payroll. These are facts on paper. You can look up these disclosures. And it's fair to ask, why are there so many people in Trump's orbit being paid by the same foreign government that's allegedly gifting him planes and funding business projects? Whether you see that as corruption or just coincidence, that's 100% up to you. But I think it deserves attention. Also worth noting, Trump's team has been rolling out giant posters of his face across buildings in Washington, D.C. It's no joke, it's massive banners, the kind you'd see in countries like China. Some people see it as branding. Others say it's crossing a line. Either way, it's a bold visual choice. And it definitely makes you wonder what the political messaging is. All right, now let's shift gears for a second. The MAGA wing of the Republican Party has been openly warning that if they lose the House in the upcoming midterms, Trump could be impeached. And honestly, that could be true. If Democrats regain control and Trump is back in office or running again, they'll almost definitely push this forward. That's just how the system works. But what's interesting is the way that it is being messaged. Some Trump supporters are now saying, if you vote for Trump but don't show up for the midterms, you're basically voting for him to be impeached. That's how much impeachment has become a political tool and a political weapon. And yeah, that raises some real concerns. We're seeing impeachment evolve from a constitutional remedy into more of a campaign tactic. Both sides have played into that dynamic over the years, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. But at the same time, what do you do when you have legitimate concerns about a politician's behavior? Do you just let it slide because calling it out looks too political? That's where it gets tricky. We've also seen growing tensions around posts by people like James Comey, Trump's former FBI director.
All right. Okay, this story, it's sparking a wave of anger. James Comey, our former FBI director, posted on Instagram something that many are interpreting as a call for violence on the president. Look at this. The caption reads, "Cool shell formation on my beach walk." And it says 8647.
He posted something cryptic online. the digits 8647. And MAGA supporters jumped on it, claiming it was a threat to Trump. 86 meaning to eliminate, and 47 being Trump's goal to be the 47th president. He hasn't clarified it, but now you've got Secret Service and FBI resources being pulled in to investigate what could be just a tweet.
Just in case you don't know, most people do. In the dictionary, it defines 86 as slang for to throw out, to get rid of, and to refuse service to. A lot of restaurants use this. When I was a waitress, they would put 86 green beans on the chalkboard, so you knew we were out of it.
But when it comes to law enforcement, a lot of times 86 means death.
That's
kill
right.
him by 86th him, he's dead. So we thought the head of the FBI has to know what 86 can be
100%.
used.
That's the climate right now. Everything is charged, everything's spinning. And while all of this is happening, Trump's been making comments in Qatar to US troops, joking about Trump 2028 hats and winning 3 elections.
Because as you know, we won 3 elections, okay? And some people want us to do a 4th. I don't know. We'll have to think about that. You saw the new hat. The hottest hat is, it says, Trump 2028. We're driving the left crazy when you see that. We didn't need that hat, but it's been an amazing period of time.
Now, again, joking is one thing, but when a sitting president starts talking about a 4th term, even as a joke, and you've already got people storming Capitol building, it makes folks nervous. You can see it on the soldiers' faces in the video. They're not sure how to react. And then you've got folks like Tulsi Gabbard, former Democrat, now very aligned with Trump, calling for James Comey to be jailed over a tweet.
You believe Comey should be in jail?
I do. Any other person with the position of influence that he has, people who take very seriously what a guy of his stature, his experience, and what the propaganda media has built him up to be, I'm very concerned for the president's life. We've already seen assassination attempts. I'm very concerned for his life. And James Comey, in my view, should be held accountable and put behind bars for this.
And then Matt Gaetz is pushing conspiracy garbage while promoting the most fiscally irresponsible tax bill in American history. A bill that adds $5 trillion to the deficit. These people aren't just politicians. They're shaping narratives. And look, this kind of political tension doesn't just stay in the US. It bleeds over, especially here in Canada, where we're already seeing the echoes of this in our own debates about media, about polarization, about government trust. Back in the US, things are also heating up on the economic front. Treasury yields are rising, foreign countries are pulling back from the US bonds, and some economists are warning that there's growing uncertainty in the markets, partially because of how unstable things feel politically. Investors don't like the chaos, and when it looks like the government can't function smoothly, when one side wants to burn it all down and then the other side is just scrambling to hold on, it's not exactly reassuring to global markets. Meanwhile, infrastructure systems are under strain. There's been air traffic control outages in Denver and Newark. There's been measles outbreaks at airports. Even FEMA, the Emergency Response Agency, is facing leadership changes after reportedly being pressured to fall in line politically. And that's concerning, especially heading into hurricane season. If the federal agencies that handle disasters aren't properly staffed or supported, that's going to affect real people. And those effects don't stop at the border. Final thing, there's also a Trump hotel project in Serbia right now that's under investigation. Local officials say a protected site was demolished illegally, based on forged documents to make way for a hotel. Again, not the first time a Trump project has hit legal issues overseas. But it does raise more questions about how business and politics are mixing. So where does all of this leave us? Well, here's what we know for sure. Trump is once again facing serious allegations, now formalized into 7 articles of impeachment. Whether you believe they'll go anywhere or not, they've triggered a process, Congress to act. And it's going to force lawmakers on both sides to go on record. It's also clear that there's more going on behind the scenes, from foreign influence to questionable financial dealings. It's messy and it's complicated, but it's all happening, and it's happening in broad daylight. So if you're watching this from Canada, like me, don't tune out. What happens down there affects us up here, whether it's trade, markets, or even the tone of our own politics. That's why I cover these stories, to give you the full pictures, not just the headlines. So if you're into content like this, that's fact-based, honest, and a bit more chill than the shouting matches, please hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. I am not here to tell you what to think. You can make up your own mind. That's the whole point. Thank you so much for watching.